Philadelphia, 1976. The fluorescent lights of Jimmy's gym buzzed overhead as Derek, the Hurricane Hayes, pounded the heavy bag with calculated fury. At 29 years old, with a record of 22 wins and 3 losses, he was considered a rising contender in the heavyweight division. But rising wasn't enough for Derek. He wanted to be at the top. "Harder!" shouted his trainer, Marcus Washington, a former middleweight with a face that told stories of countless battles. "You think Ali's gonna feel those love taps? Put your soul into it!" The mention of that name, Ali, sent a surge of anger through Derek's veins. He unleashed a vicious combination that made the heavy bag swing wildly. "That's it!" Marcus nodded approvingly. "Channel that rage!" Derek stepped back, sweat cascading down his dark skin, his breath coming in controlled pants. "I'm ready for him, Marcus. I've been ready." The gym door swung open, letting in a gust of autumn air, and Jimmy Lawson, the gym owner and Derek's manager. His expression was a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "It's happening," Jimmy announced, waving a piece of paper. "Madison Square Garden, 6 weeks from now. The Hurricane versus the greatest." A hush fell over the gym. Even the rhythmic sound of jump ropes and speed bags seemed to fade into silence. "Ali accepted?" Derek asked, his deep voice barely containing his excitement. "After that stunt you pulled at the press conference last week, he had no choice," Jimmy replied. "You called out the most popular boxer in history on national television, said he was ducking real contenders. Called him a coward." Derek completed the sentence, a slight smile forming on his lips. "I called Muhammad Ali a coward." Marcus shook his head. "Playing with fire, son." "It worked, didn't it?" Derek shot back. 5 years I've been fighting my way up. 5 years of being overlooked. Sometimes you gotta make noise to be heard." Jimmy handed him the contract. "Well, you've been heard all right. The whole country's talking about the unknown fighter who dared to call Ali yellow. They're already calling it the vindication fight." Derek's eyes scanned the document, his heart racing. Muhammad Ali versus Derek Hayes, Madison Square Garden, a shot at the heavyweight championship of the world. "This is my moment," Derek whispered. "Everything I've worked for." Later that evening, Derek sat alone in his modest apartment in North Philadelphia, the neighborhood where he'd grown up with 5 siblings and a single mother who worked 3 jobs to keep them fed. On his wall hung a faded newspaper clipping. From 1967, a young Cassius Clay, before he became Muhammad Ali, standing victorious in the ring. Derek had been just a boy when he first saw Ali fight on their neighbor's black and white television. The way Ali moved, like he was dancing rather than fighting, had mesmerized him. The confidence, the poetry, the sheer brilliance. It had lit a fire in Derek's soul, and now he would face his childhood hero. The irony wasn't lost on him. The phone rang, pulling him from his thoughts. It was his mother, Sarah. "I saw it on the news," she said, her voice a mixture of pride and concern. "You're really going to fight him?" "I am, Mama." "And all those things you said about him, was that really necessary?" Derek sighed. "It got me the fight, didn't it?" "At what cost, son?" "That's not who I raised you to be." Her words stung because they carried truth. The call-out, the insults, they weren't him. But boxing was as much about psychology as it was about physicality. Ali himself had mastered that aspect of the game. "I need to beat him, Mama," Derek said quietly. "Not just for me, for us. For everyone who came from nothing and dreamed of something." There was silence on the other end, then a soft sigh. "Just remember who you are in that ring, Derek. Fame changes people. Don't let it change you before you even have it." After hanging up, Derek walked to his window. The streets of Philadelphia stretched before him, the same streets where he'd run 5 miles every morning since he was 15. The same streets that had toughened him, shaped him, nearly broken him at times. In 6 weeks, he would face Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer who ever lived. The man who had defeated Sonny Liston, George Foreman, Joe Frazier. The man who had stood up against the Vietnam War, sacrificing years of his career for his principles. The man Derek had called a coward. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. It was Marcus holding a VHS tape. Ali versus Foreman, 1974, his trainer said, walking in without waiting for an invitation. The rumble in the jungle. We're watching it again and again until you see what I see. As the grainy footage played on Derek's small television, Marcus pointed out details most wouldn't notice. The subtle way Ali leaned on the ropes, absorbing Foreman's power. How he clinched to rest. His precise footwork that made it seem like he had all the time in the world. You see that? Marcus paused the tape. Everyone thought Ali was finished in that fight. Too old at 32. Foreman was supposed to destroy him, but Ali had a plan. He had the rope-a-dope. What's your plan, Derek? Derek stared at the frozen image of Ali on the screen, his face showing no fear despite being backed against the ropes by the fearsome Foreman. I'm going to beat him at his own game, Derek said finally. I'm faster than people think, more technical. Everyone expects me to come out swinging like some angry bull. But I've studied him my whole life, Marcus. I know how he moves, how he thinks. Marcus nodded slowly. Good, because calling Muhammad Ali a coward wasn't just disrespectful, it was poking a lion. And when you step into that ring, that lion's going to be hungry for more than just victory. He's going to want to make an example of you. Derek turned back to the window, to the Philadelphia night. Let him try. The next 6 weeks passed in a blur of intense training, media appearances, and mounting pressure. Derek's bold claim had made him overnight news. Sports journalists debated his chances, most giving him none. Boxing analysts dissected his previous fights, and the public seemed divided between those who admired his courage and those who considered him just another loud-mouthed pretender. Ali, for his part, had been uncharacteristically quiet. No poems, no predictions, no elaborate insults, just a simple statement. Talk is cheap, the ring reveals truth. The day before the fight, at the official weigh-in, Derek and Ali stood face to face for the first time. The contrast was striking. Ali, still magnificent at 34, carried himself with the ease of a man who had nothing to prove. Derek, intense and focused, seemed to vibrate with the energy of someone with everything to prove. 215 pounds, announced the official for Derek. 220 pounds for Ali. As they posed for photographs, Ali leaned in close to Derek. "Why'd you do it, son?" he asked quietly, so only Derek could hear. "Do what?" Derek replied, maintaining his hard stare for the cameras. "Call me names. I've been watching your fights. You're better than that. You don't need those tactics." Derek felt a flicker of shame, quickly suppressed. "I did what I had to do to get this fight." Ali's eyes, those legendary eyes that had stared down the greatest fighters of 2 decades, studied him with unexpected gentleness. "Well, you got it. Now what are you going to do with it?" Before Derek could respond, they were separated for individual interviews. The exchange left him unsettled. There had been no anger in Ali's question, no wounded pride, just genuine curiosity, maybe even a hint of disappointment. That night, alone in his hotel room, Derek couldn't sleep. The city lights of New York filtered through the curtains, painting patterns on the ceiling. Tomorrow, Madison Square Garden would be filled to capacity. Millions more would watch on television. His mother would be there, along with his siblings, his old neighborhood friends, and people who'd never given him the time of day before he'd made headlines. The phone rang. It was 3 in the morning. "Hello," Derek answered, expecting Marcus or Jimmy with some last-minute advice. "Mr. Hayes?" An unfamiliar voice. "This is Herbert Muhammad, Mr. Ali's manager." Derek sat up straight. "Yes?" "Mr. Ali would like to see you privately." Room 812. Now, it's the middle of the night. Mr. Ali often cannot sleep before fights. He thinks you might be experiencing the same restlessness. Derek hesitated, wondering if this was some kind of psychological warfare. Tell him I'll be there in 10 minutes. Dressed in sweatpants and a t-shirt, Derek knocked on room 812, his mind racing with possibilities. Was Ali going to try to intimidate him, offer him money to throw the fight? Nothing would have surprised him. The door opened, revealing not Ali but an older man in glasses. Herbert Mohammed, Mr. Hayes, please come in. The suite was spacious and dimly lit. Ali sat by the window in a robe, reading what appeared to be the Quran. He looked up and smiled, that famous smile that had charmed the world. Derek Hayes, Ali said, closing his book. The Hurricane. Thank you for coming at this ungodly hour. What's this about? Derek asked, remaining standing, arms crossed defensively. Ali gestured to a chair across from him. Sit, please. I just want to talk. Reluctantly, Derek sat down, feeling surreal. Here he was, in Muhammad Ali's hotel room, hours before they were scheduled to try to knock each other unconscious. I've been in this game a long time, Ali began. Seen fighters come and go, most of them blend together after a while. But every now and then, someone special appears, someone with not just talent, but something extra, something here. He tapped his heart. And here. He tapped his temple. You've watched my fights, Derek stated. All of them I could find. You're good. Better than your record suggests. You've been held back. Derek shrugged. Not everyone gets the easy path. Easy. Ali laughed, a genuine, warm sound. You think my path was easy? A black Muslim in America during the 60s, stripped of my title for refusing to fight in Vietnam, exiled from boxing for 3 years in my prime. Shame washed over Derek again, stronger this time. No, I didn't mean... I know what you meant. Ali interrupted gently. And you're right, some roads are harder than others. Yours has been hard. That's why I wanted to see you tonight. To tell me you understand my struggle. Derek couldn't keep the skepticism from his voice. To tell you that tomorrow, when we step into that ring, I want you at your best. No distractions, no regrets. Just 2 men testing their limits. Ali leaned forward. You called me a coward because you needed attention. I understand that. The business of boxing is often more important than the art of boxing. But tomorrow isn't about business, it's about legacy. Derek felt a lump forming in his throat. My legacy? And mine. Ali stood up, his tall frame casting a long shadow. I'm not going to be champion forever. The next generation has to rise, but they should rise on merit, not on talk. As Derek left Ali's room 20 minutes later, he felt both lighter and heavier. Lighter because the burden of his words had been addressed. Heavier because he now carried a different kind of responsibility into the ring. When Marcus called his room at 6 a.m. for their morning run, he found Derek already dressed, staring out at the awakening city. You look different, Marcus observed. Something happened? Derek turned to his trainer, his expression resolute. I met Ali last night. Marcus's eyebrows shot up. What? Why didn't you call me? It was private, just between us. What did he say? Was he trying to get in your head? Derek smiled slightly. No, he was trying to get me out of my own head. If this story has made you feel something already, no matter how small, don't leave without giving back. Comment and tell me where you're watching this video from and subscribe to the channel. Madison Square Garden hummed with electricity. 20,000 people filled the arena, creating a sea of faces that blurred together under the bright lights. In the dressing room, Derek sat silently as Marcus wrapped his hands, a ritual as old as boxing itself. Remember the plan, Marcus said, working methodically. First 3 rounds, feel him out. He'll expect you to charge in, so surprise him, box him. Fourth through sixth, increase the pressure, make him work. By the seventh, he'll start to tire. That's when you go to the body, break him down systematically. Derek nodded, his mind calm for the first time in weeks. I know what to do. Jimmy paced nervously. The betting odds are 15-1 against you. We could make a fortune if— No bets, Derek cut him off. Not on this fight. A knock at the door announced the official. 5 minutes, Mr. Hayes. As they made their way through the corridor towards the arena, Derek could feel the vibrations of the crowd through the floor. The noise grew louder with each step, like approaching a storm. Your mother and siblings are in the third row, Jimmy informed him. I got them the best seats I could. Derek nodded, grateful. Whatever happened tonight, his family would witness it up close. The announcer's voice boomed through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Madison Square Garden for the heavyweight championship of the world. The crowd roared as Ali made his entrance, regal and confident, his robe shimmering under the lights. The champion, the greatest. Then it was Derek's turn. As he walked down the aisle, the mixed reaction of the crowd washed over him. Cheers, boos, curious murmurs. He was the outsider, the upstart, the man who had dared to call Muhammad Ali a coward. In the ring, the referee called both fighters to the center for instructions. Ali's eyes met Derek's, conveying a silent message. Show me what you've got. The bell rang. Round one began. Contrary to everyone's expectations, Derek didn't rush forward. Instead, he circled carefully, establishing his jab, staying just out of Ali's reach. The champion seemed surprised, perhaps even impressed, by the disciplined approach. In the second round, Ali began to find his rhythm, snapping out his legendary jab, dancing with the grace that had defined his career. Derek absorbed, adapted, responded with calculated counters. By the fourth round, the crowd had fallen into a mesmerized silence. They had come expecting a slaughter. The arrogant challenger taught a lesson by the master. Instead, they were witnessing a chess match, a display of boxing at its purest. He's fighting like you, Marcus whispered in Derek's ear between rounds, and you're fighting like him. It's uncanny. The fight continued, each round adding to the growing sense that something special was unfolding. In the seventh, Ali caught Derek with a perfect right hand that sent him stumbling back. The crowd gasped, but instead of folding, Derek gathered himself and fired back with a combination that pushed Ali to the ropes. As the championship rounds approached, rounds 11 through 15, both men showed signs of fatigue. Sweat glistened on their bodies. Their breaths came heavier, but neither had truly dominated the other. In Ali's corner, his trainer, Angelo Dundee, urged him to step up the pace. He's still strong, champ. You need to find another gear. In Derek's corner, Marcus was equally direct. You're in this, really in this, but you need to take it from him. Champions don't give away their titles. The 13th round saw both fighters digging deep into their reserves. Ali, finding a second wind, began to pepper Derek with combinations. Derek, refusing to yield, answered with heavy hooks to the body. In the 14th, a clash of heads opened a cut above Derek's right eye. Blood trickled down his face, partially obscuring his vision. The referee paused the action to have the cut examined by the doctor. "Can you see?" the doctor asked. "Yes," Derek replied without hesitation. "The cut's bad. One more round. If it gets worse, I'm stopping it." When the fight resumed, Ali targeted the injury with surgical precision. Each jab reopened the wound, sending fresh streams of blood down Derek's face. Yet somehow he fought through it, landing perhaps his best punches of the night in the final minute of the round. As the bell rang for the 15th and final round, the garden fell completely silent. Both fighters, exhausted but unbowed, touched gloves in a gesture of mutual respect before engaging in 3 more minutes of warfare. Neither man held back. Ali, calling upon the last remnants of his greatness, unleashed a flurry that had Derek momentarily backing up. But the Hurricane weathered the storm and responded with a left hook that momentarily buckled the champion's knees. The final 30 seconds were a blur of punches, determination, and heart. When the bell rang for the last time, both men raised their arms. Ali with the confidence of a champion who believed he had defended his title, Derek with the satisfaction of a challenger who had proven he belonged. As they awaited the judges' decision, Ali approached Derek. "You didn't fight like a coward," Derek said, extending his hand. "And neither did I." Ali smiled, taking the offered hand. "No, son, we fought like champions." "Ladies and gentlemen, we have the judges' scorecards." The announcer's voice echoed through the hushed arena. Judge Robert Peterson scores the bout 143 to 142 for Hayes. Judge Thomas Williams scores it 143 to 142 for Ali. And Judge Harold Johnson scores the bout. The pause seemed to stretch into eternity. 143 to 143. This championship bout is declared a draw. A collective gasp rippled through Madison Square Garden, followed by a thunderous mixture of cheers, boos, and heated discussions. A draw. In boxing's greatest arena, against its greatest champion, Derek Hayes had fought Muhammad Ali to a standstill. As the ring filled with officials, journalists, and entourage members, Derek stood in a daze, blood still trickling from his cut, sweat stinging his eyes. A draw meant Ali retained his title. Derek had come so close, closer than anyone had expected, but fallen just short of making history. Ali pushed through the crowd until he stood face to face with Derek. Again, without warning, he raised Derek's hand alongside his own, a gesture that silenced the arena once more. "This man," Ali declared, his voice carrying without a microphone, "is no coward, and neither am I. Today, we gave you art. Remember it." The crowd erupted in applause. The image, Ali and Hayes, hands raised together, flashed across countless cameras, becoming an instant iconic moment in boxing history. In the dressing room afterward, as the doctor stitched the cut above his eye, Derek sat in contemplative silence. His family had come to see him, his mother's eyes shining with tears of pride. Marcus stood in the corner, already plotting their next move. Jimmy fielded calls from promoters suddenly eager to book the Hurricane for big-money fights. 15 stitches, the doctor announced, finishing his work. "That'll leave a scar, but a good one with a story." A knock at the door revealed a surprising visitor, Angelo Dundee, Ali's legendary trainer. "The champ asked me to give you this," Dundee said, handing Derek a folded note. "He's already headed to the hospital." "Hospital?" Derek asked, alarmed. "Is he okay?" "Precautionary. He took some heavy shots tonight, more than he has in a long time." Dundee studied Derek with professional appreciation. "You're the real deal, kid. Ali knew it before anyone else." After Dundee left, Derek unfolded the note. Written in Ali's distinctive handwriting were just a few lines. "Derek, in the ring, we find our truest selves. Tonight you found yours. Not in words, but in actions. The world was watching. Now they know your name. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The torch passes eventually. Muhammad." Derek read the note twice, then carefully folded it and placed it in his bag. His mother approached, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "What happens now?" she asked. Derek looked up at her, at the faces of his family, his team, people who had believed in him when few others did. "Now, we rest, we heal. Then we keep going." 3 days later, the cover of Sports Illustrated featured the photograph of Ali raising Derek's hand, with the headline, "The Fight That Silenced Everyone." The accompanying article described not just the technical brilliance of the bout, but its symbolic importance, how a brash young fighter had talked his way into a title shot, only to earn his legitimacy through 15 rounds of heart, skill, and courage. 6 months later, after Ali announced his retirement, his body finally succumbing to the toll of too many wars in the ring, Derek fought for the vacant heavyweight championship against Leon Spinks. This time, when the final bell rang, the decision was unanimous. Derek the Hurricane Hayes, heavyweight champion of the world. In his post-fight interview, the new champion was asked about his journey, about how a man who had once called Muhammad Ali a coward had gone on to inherit his throne. Derek, his face serious, looked directly into the camera. "Words can build you up or tear you down. They can open doors or close them. But in the end, it's what you do that defines you. I said things I shouldn't have said to get a chance. But when that chance came, I let my fists do the talking. That's the lesson Ali taught me. Be worthy of the opportunity, however it comes." Years later, long after both men had hung up their gloves, they would occasionally reunite at boxing events or charity functions. The media always clamored for photos of them together, eager to revisit the story of their legendary fight, the fight that had begun with disrespect but ended with mutual admiration. At one such event, as they posed for photographers, Ali leaned over to Derek and whispered, "You know what really silenced them that night?" "What's that?" Derek asked. "They came to see a fight. We gave them a conversation about respect, about legacy, about what it really means to be brave." Ali's eyes twinkled with that familiar mischief. "Sometimes the loudest statement is the one you make without saying a word." Derek nodded, understanding completely. In boxing, as in life, true courage isn't found in bold proclamations or calculated insults. It's found in the quiet moments of truth, when nothing matters but the challenge directly in front of you and how you choose to face it. If you made it this far and felt every word, don't leave without subscribing. I tell these stories with my heart in my hand to reach people like you, who feel, who get emotional, who live. If this truly touched you, give back, comment, subscribe. Come be part of this family with me until the next video.